That spirit of adventure, with all of its daring high above the beautiful North Carolina countryside, is about to be transmitted, hopefully, with the same precision to 40 race cars lined up on a 1.5-mile track for what is considered one of America's great motorsports classics, Charlotte, North Carolina's World 600. Over 60 entries, 40 have qualified for the runoff this afternoon. Not only the longest race on the NASCAR Grand National Tour at 600 miles, but it is also the very richest race. Automobiles, separated by just 2 4/10 seconds, are ready to begin the 18th annual $302,000 World 600 before the largest crowd in North Carolina history here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. I'm Ken Squire. My expert commentator today is David Hobbs of Upper Boddington, England, as we prepare for 600 miles of stock car racing.
Well, the first thing that greets you today, Ken, is a tremendous heat. It must be nearly 90 degrees here, high humidity, probably 135 degrees in those cars, and it's going to be a strong man's race. On the pole, we have one of the strongest men in racing, David Pearson. Next to him is the winningest driver in NASCAR, Richard Petty. But they're not out there alone. There's 38 other guys out there, all of whom are going to be going for that checkered flag, and it could be a race of attrition with this high heat and, of course, 600 long miles.
The race first here in 1960, and at that time a guy named Joe Lee Johnson won the event. Since that time, year after year, this particular race has given us some of the most exciting racing in this, the most competitive automobile racing in the world. Covering the pit action today is Brock Yates.
Extra bonus this afternoon is our driver Skip Manning, who's carrying a film camera and audio equipment so that he can maintain communication with us from the race car. This car that carried him to the 1976 Rookie of the Year award in NASCAR, and one of the rising young stars, is going to be with us all afternoon from the cockpit of his car.
Thank you, Brock. Skip will be starting in 9th position. There's the Grand Marshal for the race, Elizabeth Taylor Warner, who will be addressing the crowd now as we get set for the start of this race. Voicing their approval of the command to start the engine. There's Pearson on the pole for the 4th straight year. This time the front row at over 161 miles an hour. Richard Petty flanking him, and the traditional balloons now in the air as we get down to race time here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Pearson pulls away, pole position. 4 times in 17 previous years, the pole position has won this race.
There's a good look at Cale Yarborough, NASCAR's current #1 man. He is the current champion. He's also leading the points for this year and the money for this year, and I'm sure that we'll see a good showing from him today.
But he's never won the World 600. The pole position has won this race.
There's a good look at Cale Yarborough, NASCAR's current #1 man. He is the current champion. He's also leading the points for this year and the money for this year, and I'm sure that we'll see a good showing from him today.
But he's never won the World 600. Preliminary lap to the World 600.
Well, for 600 miles, they couldn't really choose much worse track. Only 1.5 miles round, rough, steep bank turns, a couple of kinks on the main straight, so it's not even straight, and very rough and hard work.
Now, here's the starting grid. Pearson and Petty in the front row. Yarborough and Darrell Waltrip with 2 victories to his credit already this year in row 2. Then Donnie Allison and Buddy Baker. Remember, Buddy Baker's won this race on 3 previous occasions, as has Pearson. Now, what's interesting about today's race is this $40,000 Charger fund, David, which is really going to make this race more than an endurance contest, a sprint race most of the afternoon.
Yeah, well, it certainly is, Ken. What they've done is they've split the race into 8 segments. Each one of those segments is going to carry a $5,000 purse for the guy that leads most laps in that segment. And so this is obviously going to encourage the racing. This race has sometimes suffered in the past from people having a bit of a charge at the start off, then they lay back for maybe 300 or 400 miles and then have a sprint to the end. But this year they're going to have to race all the way because there's a lot of money up there.
Pace car coming in. The World 600 moves down to the green flag.
David Pearson seems to be on.
On the break, it is Pearson, no question about that. That car really winding out in a hurry, and Pearson appropriates first position as they go to turn 1. A very good start, everyone off safely into this very tricky and rough first turn.
No contact that we can see as yet. David's pulled out quite a lead, really, for half a lap.
It's his first lap with this many cars running so tight together as they go for speed. That can really be hairy. Pearson pulling away.
Richard trying to go underneath Cale there. Richard normally runs pretty high to the wall, but there he was very low on the track.
As they come around to complete lap number 1 and go into that first turn, the 3-time winner, David Pearson of Spartanburg, South Carolina, has the advantage, and he's pulling away by 20, 25 car lengths going to the backstretch. Really showing some power out here. An untested engine. He blew his engine yesterday. They put this engine in last night. Got it finished at 4:30. It has not been dyno tested, and they're just praying that it doesn't ventilate itself out here this afternoon.
Well, he's just giving it a 600-mile dyno test, and so far, the first mile and a half, it seems to be going all right. That's a heck of a lead for the first lap. Look at that.
Cale Yarborough going to second place down on the inside.
Richard up to the top there in his more accustomed position. David Pearson's car looks slightly on a looser setup to me. You know, the tail seems to be hanging out a little bit more than the cars following him, which he may find advantageous on a green track. Semi-green style of the race, anyway.
Richard Petty back to second. Cale Yarborough in third. Donnie Allison in fourth and trying to appropriate third on the inside as they come by to complete another lap.
Well, there's David still well and truly out in the front. Richard seems to have broken away from his immediate pursuers. And Cale and Buddy Baker and Donnie Allison are there in a pretty tight bunch.
Donnie Allison is up 1 notch.
Well, that's a pretty hair-raising spectacle for fourth spot there.
David Pearson, who first won this race in 1961. This is where he really got his start. Right here, he raced here in the initial race back in 1960, as did the second place man, Richard Petty, are leading here in the 1977 World 600.
That's a good shot there. Look at the lean on those cars. Can you imagine the weight that's being thrown? Oh, there's Ramos Scott, our first casualty of the afternoon. Not a particularly enviable position to be in.
Keokuk, Iowa racer is out of it.
Taking the bonnet up, that's even worse. Hood, sorry, in America now.
David Pearson, who last year won $283,000 on the Grand National Tour, is out in front with a handsome advantage over Richard Petty in second and Donnie Allison in the Haas-Ellington prepared car running third. This Purelator car running out in front. What a story here. In the last 3 years, they've won it twice and finished third in the in-between year 1975.
If you watch the cars on the yellow lines on the track, you can see what a different angle of attack David's car, David Pearson's car, has to the two immediate pursuers, Richard Petty and Donnie Allison, also a former winner here.
Let's go back to the commencement of the race and watch the start from inside the 9th position automobile. Back in the 5th row, car number 92, Skip Manning, winner of the Citicorp Cup and $10,000 as Rookie of the Year, has our CBS camera on board as he came down for the start.
We're now riding around on the pace lap to warm up the cars and to get everybody in line. As you can see, it's a capacity crowd here today at Charlotte Motor Speedway. I'm starting right behind Benny Parsons. The oil pressure's running about 65 at 3,500 right now. All the instruments look okay. I just talked to my crew chief, Darrell Bryant. We're coming down the back straightaway, preparing for the start of the World 600. I believe you folks are going to see a fabulous race today. Some of the best cars and drivers in the world. For the next few minutes, I won't be talking. I'll be trying to drive this thing. So I hope you get a good shot.
few minutes going into turn 1. Look at the way he's having to move that steering wheel right round there. He's going to have to do that for another 600 miles yet.
How fast is he going right here, David?
Well, he's just coming onto the back straight, and I imagine he'll be getting up to around about 175 miles an hour, maybe even 180. In a draft situation, of course, that'll help quite a bit. Is that Benny just in front of him? I can't see very well, but I guess it probably is still Benny in front. The distance hasn't changed much.
Well, that's how it was in lap number 1 as we look at it in replay from inside the car of Skip Manning. Now we're back with the race. Shortly, we'll be going direct to Belmont for the Mother Goose Stakes here at Charlotte, North Carolina. You're watching Richard Petty and Donnie Allison trying to capture car number 21, David Pearson, who is pulling away.
Certainly is pulling away. If he keeps this up for another 600 miles, he'll win this race by about 5 laps. But I can't imagine that happening somehow.
The first 3-position automobiles. David Pearson in front. Richard Petty in second. Donnie Allison in third. All previous winners of the World 600. Now there's the battle for third position. Donnie Allison, car number 1. Donnie winning this race back in 1970, being challenged by Cale Yarborough, who has never won the World 600.
There goes Cale trying to get underneath Donnie through turn 3 and 4. Has he pulled it up? No, he's still behind him, but taking advantage of his draft along the front semi-straight. You see, that's what happens in straight, which is not straight. You can get easily blocked out by the slower traffic there and forces the fast guys up near the wall. Not that seems to worry a lot of these guys, but there it is.
A hot, humid day here at Charlotte, North Carolina, and intense automobile racing as Petty is closing on car number 21, David Pearson. In turn 3, look at Petty go right. Oh, we have a car spinning. Ron Hutcherson, the brother of former Grand National great Dick Hutcherson, spinning out in turns 3 and 4, and he's going to bring out a caution flag here this afternoon. First one of the day.
Yes, and this is going to give a lot of scope now for drivers to make some handling changes to their cars to try and match David Pearson's obvious superiority at the moment. Here they all come rushing in. Donnie Allison, David Pearson himself, Richard Petty behind him.
Those are the standings as the race went under caution with Pearson, Petty in first and second, Allison, Yarborough, and Baker running back 3, 4, and 5.
There's Richard Petty in the car wash. I bet it cost him more than 50 cents.
Pearson making a 4-tire change here. First man out of the pits will be leading, and it will be Richard Petty.
Tomorrow, 600 as a tight contest for first place is developing between...
North Carolina countryman leads here in the World 600 as he goes for his second victory in this racing classic. Donnie Allison has appropriated second position after the pit stops. And here they come. Dodge and Chevrolet, 1 and 2. That's Dale Inman, the cousin of Richard Petty and crew chief on car 43. He's talking to him on the radio right now. I'm Ken Squire along with David Hobbs and Brock Yates, bringing you the action of a real sizzler here this afternoon. And look at this battle for first.
There's Richard taking his customary high line, but Donnie seems to be hanging in there well on the low line. Doesn't need to be using the draft either by the look of things. Managed to take him on the back straight without the help of the draft.
Old-fashioned door handle racing, David.
Sure is. Except these cars don't have door handles because they're all welded up.
It's Donnie Allison in first, Richard Petty in second, 20 car lengths back in third spot, Cale Yarborough's car number 11. Take a look at Richard Petty go high and low on this racetrack. A very loose suspension setting on that car number 43.
Yeah, he's obviously taken advantage of the pit stops to adjust his handling, and he's now in very, very good shape. And so is Donnie Allison.
Richard Petty down the back stretch and surging into the inside groove to retake first place. Donnie Allison dropping back to second position. Is it the car or is it the driver that makes the difference here in the World 600? Here's what Richard Petty told us.
I think that the car is the most important here because there's probably more good drivers here that's capable of winning the race than there are good cars. And so, I feel like that I'm capable of winning the race as far as the driver. And if we can run the whole race and not have any trouble, then we're going to be hard to beat. But I can name 5 or 6 others that's the same way. So it's racing is like football or something. It's a game of mistakes. The fellow that makes the fewest mistakes is going to win the race.
There's a man since 1959 who hasn't made many mistakes. 182 career victories. Last year alone winning some $338,000. Here is car number 21, that maroon, white, and gold automobile, diving beneath Cale Yarborough. David Pearson trying to take back a spot. He's currently running in fourth. Pearson on the bottom side as they're lapping cars going into the backstretch.
Yeah, there's a good classic NASCAR shot. Again, he's not using the draft. You don't have, it's not quite so important here to this other track. Side by side through turn 3 and 4, and he's just edging in front. David was leading the race to start with, but has obviously dropped back through pit stops and traffic.
Yarborough off to a great start this year with 6 victories in the first 12 races. Has never won here at Charlotte. Would like to do it today. Pearson has won 3 times. Meanwhile, Donnie Allison is challenging Richard Petty for the lead. Car number 43. Petty is being challenged by number 1 at turn 3. Down to the bottom of the speedway. On the low side is Donnie Allison. High side is Richard Petty.
Both these drivers seem to be capable of going high or low, although Richard, as usual, does like the high side of the track.
David Pearson in 3rd position, closing on those 2 leaders. Petty, the 1975 winner of the World 600. Donnie Allison won it back in 1970. Donnie Allison, just what is your strategy to knock a guy down a position on this racetrack?
Run a guy here for a long time hard, and pretty soon you can get him to making mistakes. And, you know, I mean, the draft doesn't really take effect here like it does at Talladega or Daytona, but it helps. It definitely helps here. And, you know, when you're sitting there right on a guy's bumper lap after lap, when he has to back off to get in the corner, I think it has to make him a little nervous.
Donnie, how do you intimidate when you're sitting in 3,600 pounds of equipment? Now, how do you work on another guy and get his attention?
Well, I just I run to as close to him as I can without running into him. And, you know, a guy just can't stand that, but for so many laps, and he's got to just get over and let you go or something. And, yeah, that's really kind of hard to explain, Kenny, but it's a lot of fun.
Well, Barry said it all. That's racing. It is a lot of fun, and he's hit the key point there. Mind you, working on people like David Pearson and Richard Petty and waiting for them to make a mistake, I think he's been waiting a hell of a long time.
Pearson is the man on the move. He has climbed around Cale Yarborough and now is ducking underneath. Car number 1, Donnie Allison, in turns 1 and 2. Pearson, bottom side. Allison, high side into turn 2 in the backstretch. Allison, retaking second place. They regroup their forces, charge to 180 miles per hour toward turn 3.
Meanwhile, Richard Petty seems to be fairly safely in the lead.
But Pearson definitely looks to be the quick car now, and he's getting a good bite on the short way around the racetrack. The bottom side, he is into second place. And look at him close on Richard Petty.
Well, he started off leading the race pretty handily, and I don't suppose he's going to take second place lying down.
Here he is closing down the straightaway, and he's up on car number 43. It's Petty in the Dodge in front. Pearson, Mercury second. Chevrolet running in third. Down the back stretch another time, and here comes Pearson going for first place. It is David Pearson on his way in car number 21, but he's coming up with a lap car. Ty Scott of Penn Argyle, Pennsylvania, right in front of him, and again, Richard Petty annexes first place still another time. Back into turn number 1. Petty first. There's Bobby Allison, and he is out of it again today. Bad luck for the American Motors Matador. Back to this battle for the lead. Pearson, Lowe, Petty, high, and Donnie Allison in the catbird seat.
The catbird seat?
Back there watching, having a good time, enjoying the race.
Well, I don't know, Kenley. Every week you come up with a new catbird seat. That's the first I've heard of that one.
Well, the guys in the first 2 chairs are still side by side looking at each other down that backstretch. It's Pearson Lowe, Petty high, the 2 Grand Masters. Petty, 5-time Grand National Champion. Pearson on the bottom, 3-time Grand National Champion. Still side by side, and look at Allison get into it.
Well, that's Grand National Racing at its best. You won't see better than that anywhere.
Pearson is into first place. Here's Allison down the inside. It's a great 3-car battle here in the World 600 at Charlotte, North Carolina. We have a tire off, a car in trouble up in turn 4. Dean Dalton, car number 7, is crashed into the inside rail after losing a tire and taking the outside wall as well. The car is on fire, and here's Dean Dalton bailing out of his machine. Bad luck for a very good journeyman driver, but a terrible crash 3 years ago at Talladega. Left him out of operation for a full year.
That was a situation that could have been a heck of a lot worse than it was. The wheel obviously came off first. He backed into the wall, slid down off the wall. His wheel gone on somewhere, and nobody hit anybody or anything else. That was pretty fortunate. The guys who were following him, oh, there's the wheel now.
It's rolled about a mile already down toward turn number 1. That wheel just wants to keep on racing.
Yeah, but it needs to stay attached to the car, really.
Unfortunate moment for Dean Dalton, who has had more than his share. Let's take another look in replay at what happened.
Well, the left front wheel comes off. He glances into the wall. Now, in a situation like this, he'd like to stay up in the wall, out of the traffic. But, of course, with no front wheel, he's totally out of control. And before we slap into the
aspirations of Dean Dalton for the World 600 came tonight.
5 drivers now battling.
From the World 600 at Charlotte Motor Speedway, along with Brock Yates and David Hobbs, I'm Ken Squire, and here are the standings currently with David Pearson out in front, but being pressed by Donnie Allison, who is going for his second victory here in the World 600. On the outside, a 3-time winner, David Pearson, being passed by Donnie Allison in car number 1. Here's Richard Petty. It's a 3-car battle for the lead. He's trying to move in for second place. And that's Buddy Baker back there in 4th. Then comes Cale Yarborough in the 5th position. The front 4 cars all within 1 second of each other. Petty continuing to work the low side of the racetrack. Generally, the groove has moved down a bit since last we were with you.
It certainly looks like it. They're all hanging low. David Pearson's high there because he's on the outside of Richard Petty, but they seem to be going much lower, and this happens in the NASCAR races. The groove does move, either up sometimes at Darlington particularly, or here the groove is definitely moving down on the track.
Richard Petty snuggles to the inside, and he has second position away from David Pearson. A 4-5-car skirmish, actually for the lead continuing, with Donnie Allison on the point of that number 1 car. But his lead is evaporating as Richard Petty's number 43 closes quickly here in turns 1 and 2. Brock Yates is in the pits with Bobby Allison.
What happened, Bobby?
Well, the car was running really good, and it went to missing. I imagine it's a valve spring. We've had a lot of trouble with valve springs lately due to the fact the spring company has been on strike for quite a while now, and everybody has run low on valve springs. That's one of the parts in the engine that has a very short life anyway. But once again, we're struck down by bad luck.
Bad luck striking down Bobby Allison. Richard Petty striking down his brother Donnie Allison. Out of turn number 4, Petty has gone back in front. Here's David Pearson on the inside going for second. In all, it's a 5-car jam session for the lead here in the World 600. In car number 88, victorious in 2 early events, has gone to a new system to try to alleviate the heat conditions here. With 135-degree heat in the cockpit, he's wearing a cool hat, and earlier he told us about it.
We've got the cool head that we raced with some last year. Richard's got one, I've got one. I think Benny Parsons and Cale have got them. And those things really are effective. It's a little hairnet that fits over your head that circulates fluid through, like I say, a hairnet. It's 1,000 little veins that just circulate cool fluid over your head. And NASA developed the thing, and their theory is that if your head's cool, the rest of your body's cool. And it seems to work real well. I used it twice last year, and in these kind of conditions, you really need it.
Very necessary and quite fashionable as well.
Richard Petty's number 43 building up a bit of an advantage as he comes out of turn number 4 at about 165, 170 miles per hour. And directly in front of him, there's trouble. 2 cars spinning. Petty is on the brake. He really got on the binders to get through that one.
He certainly did. He said earlier that the team that has the best luck in the racing, and that was a stroke of luck for Richard there. He stayed well out of trouble.
Mike Scott, number 30, and 14, Cuckoo Marlin in trouble as they came out of turn number 4 directly in front of the leader. Already back underway is car number 30, Ty Scott, and there's Cuckoo Marlin, the Columbia, Tennessee alfalfa farmer coming back into the race. And let's get another look in replay at what happened as the race has gone under caution. A bad spin at number 4, and it almost took out the leader. Now, here's what happened.
Well, there's Ty Scott trying to get on the inside of Cuckoo Marlin, and it just didn't work at all. And he sent both cars into a spin across the grass there. And as I said earlier, Richard was very lucky to get away with that.
A case of agricultural racing here, David, in the World 600.
Absolutely. Now here he is coming in for his second go.
More in a moment.
Petty, and I test Gabriel shock absorbers. So do Al Unser, Barnelli Jones, and Dan Gurney. We drive as hard as we can, testing for control, for stability, for safety, and of course for comfort on cars like yours. Take it from a good old boy who knows a thing or two about cars and driving. These are some good old shots. That's why people who know shots go Gabriel.
After the last pit stop, we've had a wholesale change of positions and a change of drivers. Number 72 is now being driven by Bobby Allison, replacing Benny Parsons. The heat got to him this afternoon. And we have a three-car battle for the lead. David Pearson is on the inside, battling with Allison and the 72 on the outside. They're in the first two positions, while back in third is car number 43, Richard Petty. And there you see the interval between the first three automobiles well into this World 600. Backstretch. Pearson puts the pedal down, and here comes Petty to the inside, trying to make it 3 deep. Going back in front is Allison. Now creeping, crawling up the inside comes David Pearson for the lead. Petty again to the inside, out of turn 4. Lap car in front. It is 3 wide. It is Petty making a move. He goes from the bottom of the track right out through traffic. He's right to the wall and into the lead. An amazing move by Richard Petty.
I'll say he was very lucky to pull a stunt like that off, I would imagine. He must have tremendous confidence in himself and his car to pull that off, and, of course, his fellow drivers.
And look at him pull away. Richard Petty seeking his second victory in the World 600. Gains about a 7-car length advantage over second-place runner Bobby Allison in number 72, subbing for Benny Parsons. Here's Pearson down to the inside of number 72. And David Pearson squeezing by for second place. First 4 cars within a second and a half. Cale Yarborough's car number 11 has fallen off the pace. And you can see, David, he's in trouble up here.
Yeah. If he's going to be driving like that all afternoon, no wonder he's fallen off the pace. He must have, could even have a flat tire. It looks very, very squirrely there to me.
Here he is coming down to the straightaway. Cale Yarborough's car number 11. There's something coming out of the back end of the automobile.
It's water or oil. Maybe that's spraying on the back wheels and upsetting the handling as well, because it looked very bad.
Meanwhile, look at this battle for fourth. This has been going on for 3 laps. It's Buddy Baker, number 15, on the bottom side. High side, Virginia's number 54, Lenny Pond, former Rookie of the Year. Wheel to wheel another time into turn number 4, and this time it's Baker out in front. Well, Cale Yarborough's car is into the pit area, and it's going directly behind the wall. And because of the fact he's running for the national championship, they're going to do everything in their power to get the car fixed and back in the race. Meanwhile, number 92, Skip Manning, our camera car in the back stretch, running in 10th position.
Next lap, I'm coming out. Next lap. The car is handling a little loose, so we're fixing to adjust that. So far, everything looks good. The water's about 170. The oil's about 210. Oil pressure about 65. The car is just getting loose. When you go off in the car is a little loose, and it's messing you up. I think you put 2 rounds, that ought to help me.
When he says 2 rounds, he means they're going to adjust the rear spring through the window. They'll lean him with a great big wrench and give him 2 rounds of stiffness, probably on the inside left rear, and that'll make the car less loose.
Big bolt back in there they can adjust. There he is, Skip Manning, last year's Rookie of the Year, back underway, and Donnie Allison slowing and going behind the wall. Allison is out of it. Here's a report from Brock Yates.
Ken, we're back here in the garage area where a very dramatic moment is taking place with Cale Yarborough. He's lost a water pump on his Laguna Chevrolet. They're frantically replacing it while he's attempting to revive himself. He's obviously terribly, terribly hot. He's got one of his crewmen is holding a coal pack on his neck. He looks extremely exhausted. And in the meantime, the crew, all of the Holly Farms crew, is desperately trying to get the water pump replaced.
Ty Scott has spun in turn number 4. The guy who had trouble out here earlier with Cuckoo Marlin has looped it. He's down at the bottom of the 4th turn, and caution is out once again. Let's take another look at what happened to Scott this time.
He just tags the wall there, which sets him off in a long, typical NASCAR slide down the bank onto the apron. The big thing to do, of course, is not to go back up the bank in front of all the traffic.
Ty Scott trying to get back in this World 600. More in a moment.
Let me
of protection between oil changes. New STP motor oil. Here are the results of one test, a test to determine wear protection. After running STP motor oil for 60,000 miles with oil changes every 15,000, the average wear of the test car camshafts was so low, it fell within the manufacturer's tolerance specified for brand new cams. New STP motor oil, protection for 15,000 miles. That's extra protection.
North Carolina, Cale Yarborough is still struggling to get his car back in the race. Richard Petty has taken full command as the World 600 draws into its final laps.
Defending National Stock Car Champion Cale Yarborough, winner of $387,000 a year ago, out of the top 20 right now, but trying to get back in this race.
They always do this. The Holly Farm team last year changed 2 engines in 20 minutes, and same sort of trick again, but I can't feel too sorry for him. He's up to $200,000 already this year.
Richard Petty on his way. David Pearson is in second. And the third position right now is the car number 72, which is being driven by Bobby Allison as a replacement driver for Benny Parsons. They keep getting to Parsons early on in the going. Here's car number 43, Petty, seeking his second victory in the World 600. He didn't win this race, although he entered the very first one some 18 years ago, until 1975. And he's out in front by a big margin as he comes down into the start-finish line area. There you see the interval. There's Petty down across the line. He's still coming up on turn number 4. Here he is, about 12 and a half seconds back. In second place is the 3-time winner of the World 600, David Pearson. A reminder, tomorrow we'll be on the air live from Milwaukee on CBS with United States Auto Club Championship Racing, the Rex Mange 150. That's tomorrow here on CBS, and upcoming later this afternoon, an old slew pull through and win the Triple Crown. You'll see it with the Belmont live on CBS following this automobile race, the World 600. Here's Richard Petty seems to be on his way to victory in the World 600. Tomorrow, the NASCAR Grand National competitors are in Riverside, California. June 19th in Michigan, July 4th at Daytona Beach, Florida. Here is David Pearson, Petty, coming in just to take a little gasoline to get him to the finish, David.
I would imagine so. He's obviously not going to win the race, so he just wants to make sure he does finish and come second.
Meanwhile, car number 72 has fallen a lap down. That car, too, has made a pit stop. So number 21 is just putting some security in the tank for second place.
That's a good demonstration of what a disaster a green flag stop is. He only actually stopped for 2 seconds and lost about 30.
1 lap remaining, and Richard Petty goes into turn number 1. He's not all the way on the high side. He seems to be coming out of the throttle, really coming down dramatically in speed here, as this driver who has won so many times, this will be his 183rd victory, just with such assurance, concluding this masterful race this afternoon.
Well, he won't be taking any chances at all on this last lap.
Here's Petty out of turn number 4. Lives only about an hour and a half on this racetrack, but went for years without winning here. Finally broke in 1975 and won both this race as well as the race in October, the National 500. There's your winner. Richard Petty has won the World 600 for 1977 at the mile-and-a-half Charlotte Motor Speedway. A half a lap or more back in second place, car number 21, David Pearson. And finishing in third, as we see Elizabeth Taylor Warner waiting in the victory lane area for Richard Petty, will be the Bobby Allison, Benny Parsons combination, car number 72. There's Petty headed for victory lane, car number 43. Another magnificent victory for one of the oldest racing teams in America. Incidentally, with his lap money plus his purse money, Richard Petty has won $69,550 here this afternoon in the World 600. And our rookie driver with our CBS camera wound up in 10th place. Let's go down to Brock Yates in victory lane.
Brock, you got it. Richard, excellent race. You made it look pretty easy considering the distance.
Well, everything worked so good, it was easy. You know what I mean? In other words, anytime that you got a car that runs that good and handles that good, you know, then it makes the dadgum thing easy. But, you know, I didn't know what was going to happen anytime.
Did you have good performance all the way? Did you have an edge most of the distance?
No trouble whatsoever. You know, I guess that's the third race we've run this year and didn't have no trouble won all 3 of them. So, you know, what can you say? When you run that good and don't have no trouble, you're going to be hard to beat.
We can say congratulations. Terrific.
So Richard Petty wins it for Brock Yates. David Hobbs, I'm Ken Squire. We hope you'll see us tomorrow at Milwaukee for the Rex Mange Memorial Live on CBS.
And, of course, a great victory in the World 600 for Richard Petty, but perhaps the outstanding...